Okay, today we are going to figure out once and for all what Amy Mashburn's job is. So, if you want to know, stay tuned. And we're going to make sense of another rambling, nonsensical live. So, let's go.
Honey, I'm a perfect 10. Whoa, whoa. And if I say it enough, it gets ingrained in my head, and I start to.
Last time we talked about Amy, we watched one of her lives where she talked about things. And we collectively could not really figure out what the point was. But she is now doing some type of spiritual alignment, find your purpose type of coaching. So I went to her website and let's get some more info about this. So let me scooch over, and on her link tree, on her page, she has her Rooted and Realigned series. So that's what she's doing now. And then Upper Body Build, which I think is mostly Kevin, and neither of them are personal trainers. So neither of them have the qualifications. They've just done a lot of Beachbody programs. Unless Kevin got his personal training certification, which he may have. And then you can subscribe to her newsletter or go to her Like to Know It. So I went to the Rooted and Realigned series. Again, when I went to her website, nothing about the No Rules Branding School. Nothing remains. That is like, it's almost like it never happened, or she doesn't want us to remember it ever. This is a lot of text. If you're looking at the screen, I'll put it up here so you can see it. Obviously, I was on my phone, so I could get there directly from Instagram and screenshot these things for you, but it's a lot. So I'm Amy, mother, wife, multi-passionate creative, business/lifestyle coach, speaker, and entrepreneur. Okay, so I guess she is a business/lifestyle coach. That's what she's billing herself as. A speaker. What speaking events have you booked? And Beachbody doesn't count. So if you've never been booked as a speaker in anything other than the MLM that you were at the top of, you're not a speaker. Now, people who have spoken at MLM conferences like Rachel Hollis or Brendan Burchard, even though in my opinion they're also scammers, they are speakers. Like, they can say that because they get booked to speak at all sorts of places, and they go on tour with other speakers, and they do these little, personal development sessions or whatever that you can buy a ticket to. I know because a friend and I, when I was in Beachbody, Rachel Hollis and several other people came to Chicago doing a thing, and we got tickets, and she gave the same speech that she had given at the Beachbody summit that she spoke at. So basically the same thing. It wasn't exactly the same because she had some stuff that was specific to people in MLMs when she did Beachbody, but it was the same stuff. So that was a waste of money. I mean, everything I did with Beachbody was a waste of money. So anyway, that's neither here nor there. But you're not a speaker because you haven't been booked to speak at anything. And you're not an entrepreneur because you've never started a business. You were in Beachbody for 14 years, which is not being an entrepreneur. It's being a 1099 salesperson for Beachbody. And the only thing you launched on your own, you're a course creator, I guess. You created a course and no one bought it, so now you're pivoting. So I don't think you get to call yourself an entrepreneur, but business/lifestyle coach. Okay, I guess, if you say so. The Rooted and Realigned series are 3 workshops that will be 60-minute sessions each. This spring and early summer experience will help you connect your inner knowing and finally know who you truly are and what you really want out of life. Do we need her for that? What will make this experience unique is you will be taking action on a plan customized to you. not just learning information. Okay, so we're going to get a customized plan. Okay. By the end of this interactive experience, you will leave with ample time to implement in between sessions with a workbook and 30 days of journaling to get to the next step. I hate journaling. I have always hated journaling. And if you've been on my channel, oh, by the way, hi, I'm Bethany. If you're new here, I forgot to introduce myself. I'll just do it now. I'm Bethany. I am an opera and musical theater performer, and I was in Beachbody from 2014 till the end of 2021 and have spent the last few years deprogramming, deconstructing, and now I'm here to spill the tea on MLMs, the personal development industrial complex, and manifestation grifters. So if that's your thing, please keep watching and maybe subscribe. That'd be great. I'd love to have you. So that's who I am. And I was in Amy's downline. We had one person in between us. So she was my grandma coach when I was in Beachbody, to use the same kind of verbiage that they use. Anyway, I hate journaling. And something, if you're new here, I grew up evangelical Christian, and a lot of the kind of cultural things as kind of a young, like preteen, teenager, is writing out, like journaling your prayers to God, doing devotionals with different types of journals, writing letters to your future husband, because evangelical Christianity is just white supremacy and patriarchy wrapped up in a neat little bow. I said it. I'll say it again. You know, this is a sidebar. When I first started my channel, I thought, like, maybe I should be more neutral on things like religion and politics. But, like, those things are a huge part of MLM culture and manifestation culture and personal development culture. Like, they inform it so much, like, you can't separate it. Politics and religion are huge in MLM. Huge, huge. And you can't separate it. And I was like, you know what? Like, it's early days, as they say in England, as they say on Love Island. I have 1,000 subscribers now, and, like, you should know what you're getting. You know, no surprises for anyone. Like, if this is your first time on my channel and you're super MAGA, you're gonna hate me. Like, you already hate me. It's fine. Like, I'm a raging leftist, feminist. Like, even my hair, like, see the blue in there? I just dropped my phone. It's mostly purple, but, like, I do put some blue in it. Like, I'm child-free by choice. I'm pro-choice. I'm pro-LGBTQ. I'm pro-trans rights. All of the things. So if you're MAGA, if you're super capitalist, if you're super conservative, and you know what? Like, I talk about my past as an evangelical Christian, but, like, I think Jesus is rad. I think the teachings of Jesus are amazing. And if Christians actually followed the teachings of Jesus, I think the world would be a much better place. So that's where I stand. So you're welcome here no matter your belief system, but I'm just going to let you know, like, you're probably going to hate me if you're MAGA. Like, so if you're hate watching, like, fine, whatever. I'm monetized, so. Okay, I am a little bit squirrely today. It is the first nice day in Chicago in a long time, and I'm a little bit squirrely, so you get what you get on this channel, but you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. How long is it going to take me to read through these screenshots? I didn't even screenshot everything on her website because it's just too much. It's too much. She should know she's doing these long rambling lives and putting all this information on her website in the age of TikTok, in the age of our attention spans are shorter than ever. Like, nobody needs this. I say as I'm doing long form content, but if you're on YouTube, like, that's what you want. But okay. So I've always hated journaling, even when I was a Christian. Even I always felt like I had to when I was in MLM, when I was in the manifestation world, which was the Venn diagram is like a circle. And I could never get into it. And I finally, at my big age of 30 something, I have accepted that I hate journaling and I'm never going to try. I'm never going to do it. It's just not for me. I have other ways of processing my emotions, and they are not journaling. So I hereby give you permission, if no one else has, that like you don't have to be into journaling. You don't have to be into meditation. You don't have to be into like whatever people say is good for your mental health. There are things that are good for your mental health, and they're different for everybody. Everybody has different things. So there you go. All right. She says, my Rooted and Realigned series is designed to help you finally step into the life you desire and start creating it. You will learn why you're right where you're supposed to be and how authenticity plays a crucial role in all aspects of your truly aligned life. By the end of this workshop, you will have clarity around what your next steps will be towards a life that you don't need a vacation from. A life you're obsessed with, a life you look forward to every day, a life that you create because you're no longer willing to settle for anything less than exactly what you're supposed to have. A life only you can love because it's designed by the only person who matters, you. This sounds like the same mumbo jumbo that all the manifestation girlies are shilling. Like, oh, I have like the answer to you'll be able to create your dream life. You will not be able to create your dream life without more money. If you don't have very much money, you need to get money. And she is trying to get money because she doesn't have her dream life anymore. Beachbody took away her downline without any warning, and she's already come out swinging so hard that she won't join another MLM. She lost her opportunity for a bridge contract. She lost her opportunity to be at the top of Make Wellness, and which I don't advocate for, by the way. I do think she would be in a better position financially. However, I don't think that would last. Like I said in my last video, or in many videos, that I think Make Wellness, any new MLM is going to decline even faster. So I stand by that. But she is not doing this to help you live your dream life. She's doing this because her No Rules branding school flopped, and she is scrambling for something else. She doesn't want to get a real job. She wants to be a person everyone looks up to. She's very narcissistic. She's got a huge ego. She wants to always be the one teaching. She wants to be up on stage. She wants everyone to be looking up to her, and she wants to be making money just from like being her authentic self on Instagram. And she thought that's how she was making money. She convinced herself that's how I'm making money, not I'm at the top of a pyramid scheme exploiting other people, which is actually how she was making money. So, you with me? You with me? Okay. Part 1. Okay, so she said we can do any of these workshops individually, or we can do all 3 of them. So let's assess. Let's see. Part 1, awakening your authentic self, which is actually this coming Saturday. I think this video is not going up until Tuesday, so we've already missed this one, you guys. I'm so sorry. Workshop 1, awakening your authentic self. Remember who you were before the world told you who to be. In this first workshop, you'll identify the true self beneath conditioning, expectations, and old roles, clear emotional and mental clutter that clouds your inner voice, and map your authentic desires and reclaim your right to want what you want. You'll walk away feeling clearer, lighter, and more connected to who you really are. Meet yourself again and fall in love with the woman you find. Okay. Notice how none of these items are things that are really quantifiable. It's all just a bunch of nonsense. It's all just a bunch of mumbo jumbo. It's all just a bunch of like, we're going to do this internal stuff that is not really measurable and is just going to give people like those feelings, but it's not actually accomplishing anything. And by the way, these things, identifying my true self, clearing like emotional and mental clutter to like find what I really believe and who I am and what I actually want, regardless of what the world says. And for me, my world was MLM Huns, manifestation, personal development people telling me what I should want. People like her saying, if you work a 9-to-5, you're building someone else's dream, etc. I have learned since leaving Beachbody, I've learned so much about myself, but rejecting every cult that I have been a part of, which I include organized religion, I include MLM and manifestation, which I do believe is like a religion, is kind like the kind of, maybe not a cult, but like maybe I'm gonna have to think on that, because there are definitely some culty aspects of the manifestation world. It's harder to define. We're gonna talk more about that though. I'm gonna noodle on that one, but all these people have a dollar to make off of you, or several dollars. All of these people have an agenda. Amy has an agenda for sure. But since I left and deconstructed all of these things, which at times was very painful, but was absolutely worth it, I have learned that what I want is a 9-to-5. I do not want to be a business owner. I want to be able to turn off. I want to be able to not think about my job when I'm not there. I like having my 9-to-5. Anything else that I do is my choice. I love to perform, but I've done the artist gig life, and it is hard. It was hard before the panorama, and it is a million times harder now, especially if you're a woman. I've said that before. It's hard, and I love having a steady paycheck and having my art just be my art. And if I want to do a show, if there's something I want to audition for, I audition for it. If everything that's going up is not really suited for me, then I just don't audition for anything, and I still am making money. Like, I'm not obsessed with the next show that I have coming up. I love that I can sing for the pure joy of it. I can audition for something like unpaid community theater just because they're doing something that I want to do, which, by the way, the unpaid community theater in a market like Chicago is full of like professional level people. So it's amazing. And I'm doing like the highest quality productions, whether they're paid or not, but that's neither here nor there. I have learned that not injecting personal development into my brain at all times, not listening to people like Tony Robbins, not listening to people like Mel Robbins, they're not related, Rachel Hollis, Brendan Burchard, all these people, getting those people out of my head has allowed me to know what I want and know who I am. And I am someone who loves being an employee of someone else. And that allows me to build my dream life better than being a business owner. I do not want to be thinking about how my business is doing all the time. I don't want to be in charge. I don't like it. I like doing my work during my work hours, clocking out and not thinking about it, and doing YouTube because I'm passionate about it, doing makeup because I'm passionate about it, singing because I'm passionate about it, and I get to just do those. And there's no pressure on those things to provide for me financially. I love it. And when I go on vacation, I get paid. It's great. Yeah, I've fallen in love with reading for pleasure again, because when I was in an MLM, you have to read all this personal development all the time. And now I'm one of those bookish girlies. I'm obsessed with the romantasy books. I'm obsessed. I can watch TV. I can listen to podcasts that aren't inspirational or personal development. It is wonderful. I am so much happier. I am so much more authentic and in alignment with who I truly am. I have met myself again since I stopped listening to people like Amy. So that's that on that, I guess. This is still on the first workshop. It says what you'll learn, defining authenticity and purpose-driven living. The purpose-driven life, I think somebody already wrote that book. Authenticity activation map. The 3 pillars of awakening authenticity. There are 3 pillars of awakening authenticity. The 3 A's of authentic living. Arms, abs, and ass. That's an Autumn Calabrese workout. Okay, my 3 pillars of awakening authenticity are: don't listen to MLM Huns or former MLM Huns. Don't listen to manifestation girlies. Don't listen to religious leaders. Okay, those are my 3 pillars. I gave you that for free. You're welcome. Part 2, planting roots into your truth. Build an unshakable foundation in who you are and what you stand for. In this second workshop, you'll define your core values and why they matter more than goals. Claim your personal non-negotiables, the things you refuse to sacrifice. Strengthen your boundaries so you stay rooted even when life gets stormy. You'll leave grounded, resilient, and unapologetically aligned with your truth. You'll stop bending for the world around you and start growing true to yourself. You know where you can do these things more effectively and in a safer space is in therapy. A therapist's literal job is to do all this stuff, and they are actually qualified to do it. And if you have like trauma, they can help you with that, which Amy is not qualified to help you with your trauma. Let's be so for real. We will cover how your values play a role in your present and future, clarity around what you actually want, boundaries to protect your energy and authenticity, designing your dream life by design. I mean, all of this seems so vague. And also like things you could literally do on your own or with a therapist. Like it just doesn't seem like define your core values. I feel like that's in every personal development book. This feels like plagiarized from all the personal development she's read over the years, honestly. That's what it's giving. 3, realigning through action. Step forward boldly, one aligned action at a time. In this final workshop, you'll identify where you're currently out of alignment, relationships, work, habits, self-expression. Create a customized, soulful action plan that reflects your true values. Learn to navigate fear and resistance with grace, not guilt. You'll leave with a plan in your hand, courage in your heart, and trust in your own path. Small, rooted actions lead to massive, authentic growth. What we will cover, what taking aligned action looks like, identifying realignment zones, creating your aligned action plan, navigating negativity, fear, and life for maximum results. Again, all of this just seems like nonsense. I used to be in this world. I used to buy into this stuff. And even from that perspective, I still think it's not concrete enough to even get those types of people in. Like, it's too vague. It's too general. It's too, this is all stuff I can do by myself on my own, or just like get together with girlfriends and be like, let's do an action plan where we like figure out our core values and like share. You could like just make a weekly group where you share, you know, what you've been thinking and working on and like how you're becoming more aligned with your true self and, you know, what your boundaries are and what your roles are. That's just like friendship. Now that I'm talking about it, I'm thinking about conversations that I have with my friends, and especially friends who have also deconstructed from high control religions or who have left MLMs. And we already have these conversations. We're like, oh my gosh, I'm learning that I can do this and I can do that. And I actually like this and I actually like that. And I'm not putting up with this anymore. And like, it's just friendship. Like, you can't charge for friendship, then it's no longer friendship. Although she is someone who was at the top of an MLM for 14 years. So all of her friendships are probably transactional. So, okay. So that is all I took from her website. There was more, but I was like, this is just too much. And it's all the same. Like, all 3 of those workshops were so, because the content was so vague, it almost seems like they're all the same thing. So I'm just like, what is this? So let's watch the Bruised Lips live and let's see if we can figure out what she says to us and what the point of it is. Because often with her lives, we don't really know what they're about even after watching them.
Story. I'm about to go into the orthodontist, and yes, I know my lips are super bruised. It's fine. I got my lips done. They're bruised. It's what happens. I don't care. But I wanted to just let anybody know that, you know, if you're like, what is going on there? That is what's going on. So I'm okay. But I was driving to the orthodontist. I have my appointment in 10 minutes, and I went live earlier, and I ended up taking it down because I felt like it wasn't like as succinct as I wanted it to be. And I'm really not trying to do like 15-20 minute long lives. I really want to just start coming on here and just sharing little bite-sized things that you can just take and you can just think about during the day. One of the biggest things that I have realized, so in case you don't know me, I've been in the like personal development world, success world.
What does it mean to be in the success world? Girl, your success was because of the people below you. It wasn't because of you. Every single person in your downline contributed to your paycheck. Like, you got in at the right time. If you had joined 2 years later, 3 years later, different story. Very different story. But do you know that? Like, also, like, the success world? Like, what? I am also in the success world. I am very successful. I have read 62 books as of this filming, which right now, as I'm filming, it's May 29th. I have read 62 books. And my goal is to read 120 books. Last year I read 105. This year I want to read 120, and I am currently, according to Goodreads, 19 books ahead of pace. So I have a good cushion there. And when I go on my family vacation to the UP in a couple of weeks, we're off the grid. Like, there is no service, there is no Wi-Fi, and I will be reading so much. I'm going to knock out so many books up there. Prepare. So I'm in the success world too.
Now for 14 years, 17 years if you want to include my time in AA and the 12 steps and all of that, and that, kind of like becoming back then. But I mean, 17 years of like really doing work on myself. And one of the things I've come to realize,
that just tells me you are more brainwashed than the average person who's been in an MLM, because you've been doing the self-help books, the personal development stuff. I know she's gone to a lot of Tony Robbins like events, like live events and stuff, and has been reading all this nonsense for almost 20 years. That is indoctrination. Personal development is indoctrination, and in my opinion, it is its own version of a pyramid scheme. The people who write self-help books and host these conferences and do this like personal development work do it so that they can get rich. They have identified that this is a way for them to make a lot of money. And exhibit A for me is Rachel Hollis, who did a 180 about MLMs, and which I don't want to get into all of her lore. There's a lot of lore on Rachel Hollis, but she used to speak at MLM conferences and she used to like advocate for them. And then in her latest book, she's like, don't join an MLM, basically. But she said in her latest book, like, I would rather be writing like romance. She basically said, I'd rather be writing romantasy. She's like, I would love to be writing about like fairies falling in love and doing each other. And her early books were fiction. And she is a good writer. She is a good writer and a good speaker. The content is questionable, but she basically, you can put two and two together. In my opinion, allegedly, she got into personal development because she saw how much money she could make, and she had the personality for it. And she went viral from that one post, wrote "Girl, Wash Your Face," and was like, yeah, I have to like keep going in this direction, even though if she was living like authentically to her like true desires, she would be writing romantasy novels. Like, that's what she would rather be doing. And Amy, like, these are the types of people that Amy has consumed for 17 years unquestioningly, and now just thinks that qualifies her to be one of them. Like, everyone who does a lot of self-help, you develop this mindset that you're like better than everybody else. You really feel like, oh, like I'm working on myself, like I do personal development, and like look at that person like with their negative attitude and their limiting beliefs and all of this stuff. Like, it's toxic. So that's why she's sitting here positioning herself as this authority and being like, I'm going to give you something that like is going to help you in your day to day. I'm going to give you this to like think on. And it's like, what qualifies you to do that? What qualifications do you have to give people advice on what they should do with their life, how they should think, how they should behave, what they should read? Nothing. You don't know these people. Like, you have no qualifications. You don't even have a college degree. And if you did, it would be in photography, not therapy, not clinical psychology, not, anything, not even like family counseling or elementary school education, which educators are amazing. I freaking love teachers. I think every teacher is more qualified to be a life coach than 90% of life coaches out there because of like their job and what they have to deal with. And like, they have to teach and they have to learn how to teach like different students and like how to modify their teaching style. I love teachers. I'm a big fan of teachers. If you're a teacher, say hey. Love teachers. So she's never been a teacher. She's never been a counselor or a therapist or any of these things. Like, you don't have any qualifications, Amy.
As of late is that I feel like at some point, like I feel like doing work on yourself is so great, but I really feel like, for example, if you listen to this live today, then taking what I teach you and then giving yourself time to like ruminate on it and think on it, like sitting in silence while you're driving. Like a lot of times, like we blast music or we listen to podcasts, we listen to personal development. I think everybody's always listening to things and taking in things so much lately. And so much information from like the internet, the news, like, we're not meant to take in so much information. And I feel like when you're getting down to like the core of what it means to be connected to yourself and to nature and to the natural rhythms and to the universe and to being guided, I feel like sometimes, finding yourself on something like this could lead you to that next right step. But when you take in something new every single day and then something new and then more and more and more and then more and more information, I feel like sometimes we don't have time to listen to something and then allow ourselves to really digest it. So one of the things
Okay, so I'm going to stop her there for a second because that was a lot of blah, 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 blah. And this is not a blind react. I have watched this once. I screen recorded this because the last time I tried to download it, we had that sound issue. So I screen recorded this, so I watched it while I was screen recording it. So allow me to help you. This is now my second time through, and that was a lot of stuff. But I think the point of what she's saying here is that if you consume all the time, you never have a chance to actually digest what you've consumed and apply it. So her piece of advice is that you should listen to a thing, whatever the thing is, and then spend some time actually thinking about it in silence, perhaps on your drive or on your walk, rather than listening to more things. Think about the things you've already listened to and really take that in and integrate it before you listen to something new. So, put succinctly, that's what she's saying. And I will say, like I said before, the fact that I'm not in an MLM anymore, having the freedom to not listen to personal development, to blast music, to listen to podcasts that are about romantasy novels, that are about The Bachelor, that are, ologies with Allie Ward. I love that one. Like just educational and fun, or about history, or listening to audiobooks that aren't personal development books. Being able to like watch a show when I get home and not feel like that's, rotting my brain, or I need to be adding new people on Instagram while I'm doing it, or I'm like, oh, I haven't achieved Success Club yet, so I can't like watch this show, because why would you do something fun when you haven't achieved your goals? Do what others won't do now so you can do what others can't do later. And you know what? I wasn't able to do what others can't do later. I ended up in a 9 to 5 anyway, because MLMs are a scam. don't listen to personal development nonstop for 17 years. You'll just be a brainwashed person that thinks they're better than everyone else.
I want to encourage you to do, like, when you are listening to something, so for example, this live, and then let's say you have a commute today, let's say you're driving, or let's say you have time in the shower, instead of feeling the need to constantly have like music on or a podcast in your ear, or, you know, something along those lines, or like a book. I know I listen to a lot of audibles, but I listen to my audible on the way here, and on the way home, I'm not going to listen to my audible. I'm going to let myself just think and get creative and really just like let it just like cement what I listen to and think about it and think about different things. So that's one of the things that I think is like my biggest takeaway lately as somebody who has, you know, been on my growth journey for 17 years, that I want to encourage you to take more time to just like get out in nature. Like when you go on your walks, like for those of you who are like, you know, 10K steppers a day or hiking or whatever, don't listen to anything. Let yourself think, let yourself connect, let those inner guidance and inner knowing kind of speak to you. That's when you can hear like the whispers and the glimmers and see the things that you're supposed to be seeing, that is supposed to be guiding you. I feel like one of the biggest feelings of unrest.
Now, this is just my opinion and take it with a grain of salt, but something I've learned since leaving these spaces is to not believe anything that I cannot see or measure. So, is this true? Is this thing that I listened to, this person that I listened to, is there a way to quantify what they're saying to prove that it leads to success? And if it's all, like, for all the manifestation girlies, the answer is no. There's literally no way to quantify. All of their examples are anecdotal. They got rich by selling the idea of manifestation. There is no way to prove whether something came into someone's life through manifestation. It is not scientific, no matter what they try to tell you. And these personal development people, again, their success is in personal development, or some of them in MLMs. Like, what is it? Hal Elrod, he was in Cutco. Remember Cutco? Are they still around? I don't know. But, you know, most of the Napoleon Hill, scammer. Most of these people are scammers. So that is, yes, think about what you consumed. Think about it critically. Think, who does it benefit for me to believe this? And is listening to this bringing me joy? Life is too short. Do you want to like walk in silence, like ruminating on everything that you have consumed? Or do you want to like listen to some Doja Cat and like have a good time? You know? I know what I would rather do. So that's just me.
Come from not like really listening to yourself and listening to what your subconscious is kind of like feeding to you sometimes. And so because subconscious like thoughts don't always have to be negative. Subconscious thoughts are not always, you know, limiting beliefs. Subconscious thoughts could just be things from your childhood that were important to you at one time that got shoved down so deep because, like me, if you're like me, you were in survival mode in your own home as a child and a teenager. And then
See, that's the thing. When I screen record, when people send me DMs and posts, I think last video you saw my friend Joanne send me something, and now you're seeing my friend Stan. They are both subscribed to this channel, and yay. So you guys get a little cameo on my channel.
I had to move out and I had to survive. I had to get a job. I had to then like think about college and all these things because like I was pressured to feel like I had to do that. And, you know, and so the things that I really loved and enjoyed and valued, which for me was always nature and always like just stillness and quiet and all of that, just got so pushed down so deep that like it's taken me becoming a mom to really embrace the slow life again and all the little things that make life beautiful, not feeling like I always have to be like traveling somewhere or flying somewhere, or having a new experience or moving or an uprooting or a new this or a new that or another business or whatever. That is me in fight or flight, right? That is me in reaction mode to what I'm seeing out in the world, not to what is really makes me whole. So I just want to share that with you. Just a little thought, just a little bite size.
Or it could just be, this is the thing. She said her life was like so amazing. Like before she became a mom, she was like, I'm living my dream life. And like she was already making so much money off of Beachbody. She could absolutely live the slow life. She liked to travel. Like she liked to hustle. Like, I mean, look, I'm not her. I'm not in her head. But like you can change. You can go through life changes and you can decide you want something different. And that doesn't mean that like that was what you wanted all along and that's your authentic self. It can just mean that like now you want something different than you did. Like I genuinely wanted to live out of a suitcase and be an internationally famous opera singer. And now I want to live in one place and have a cat and have a steady job and do opera and musical theater on the side. And that is genuinely, like, I just don't have the energy to live out of a suitcase. And I do love to travel, but like, I'm not the type of person, like, when I think of a trip, I'm like, I want to go to one place and kind of be in that one place for however many days. Or I don't want to like backpack from like place to place, you know? In my 20s, I think a lot of this is just, I interrupted myself like Amy does sometimes. In my 20s, I did want to do that. In my 20s, I had more energy. I wanted different things. And now I'm in my 30s and I do want a slower life and I do want more stability. And some of my core values are the same, but some of them have changed, and that's okay. And it doesn't mean I was lying to myself in my 20s. It just means that I'm getting older. And I think a lot of what she's struggling with is just getting older. And you just want different things at different stages in your life. And becoming a mom, I'm sure, like, changes your priorities, and that's normal. And I feel like her whole course is because these people like over spiritualize everything. They like over like personal developmentize things. That's not a word, but it's a thing. There's not a word for making everything in your life this huge revelation, this huge growth, this huge like, I need to like wrestle with this, or like, what's the reason for me feeling this way? Like when you're in the personal development world, you overthink everything. You make everything have to have like this huge meaning, and you can literally just, things can just happen, and you can just be mad at someone because they were a jerk. You can be sad because it's the day before your period and that's why you're sad. You can get restless at your job and want to change jobs. You know, you can want different things. And like you can change your mind. And that's called like just being a person. But in these worlds, you can't just be a person. You have to like be this like a spiritual being. And it's like a whole thing. And since leaving that world, I love that like not everything has to have a huge meaning. Like stuff can just happen and people can just be people and I can just be a person. And my feelings can change from day to day and from year to year, and I can change my mind about things. And when I have conversations with people who are still in that world and they will take something like very mundane and make it into like this big deal, I'm like, it's just something. She just said something to you, you know? Or you just got mad at a coworker. It's fine. Or your boss is just kind of a D-bag, you know? Like not everything has to mean something about your limiting beliefs or your unconscious. It's just a whole thing. It's a whole mess. We're almost through this. I know it's a lot of nonsense.
Ooh, my hair is voluminous on that side. We gotta make it even. A little bite-sized chunk for you to just take away today and just think about it, journal on it. If you're in my channel on Instagram, sometimes I post journaling prompts in there. I would like to do that more often. But one of the other things you could do is you could join my next workshop, which is next Sunday.
Again, the ego of someone to be like, I've given you this little like nugget of wisdom to like think about and journal on. Like, what gives you the right?
What gives you the right?
to give people things to journal on. Like, you are not a guru. Like, you are not, I mean, I don't believe in gurus, but like, I do believe in like people, you know, being a master in whatever it is that they do and having good pieces of advice. So if someone like Yo-Yo Ma was giving like a tip on like practicing technique and is like, I'm just going to give you like a little nugget for like how to be consistent with your practicing. Yo-Yo Ma is a cellist. I would be like, yes, Yo-Yo Ma has good advice and I want to know how he practices. And that would be, but what are you, like, what gives you the right to give us little nuggets of wisdom? You know, because you were at the top of a pyramid scheme for 14 years? Okay.
And it's all about awakening your authentic self and finding what that means to you before all of the shit. The way that I like to think about it is like, think about it as like the dirt underneath a house, right? There's like the dirt, and then they lay the foundation, and then there's, you know, building the foundation of the house, and then there's the house that goes on top, there's the walls, there's the flooring, there's like, then there's the furniture, then there's the people, and everything underneath that is just like forgotten about what's under there. And like, that is essentially what happens in life. Like, all the things get built upon the foundation of who you are to give you like this life. And sometimes we wake up at some point and we're like, whose life am I even living anymore? You know? And it's time to refocus and time to reinvent and realign. And realignment comes in so many different seasons. I think that we are raised to and grown up in this society, especially, I know for me, it's like you graduate, you get a job, and it's just like very linear. But we are not linear. Humans are not linear. We are messy. We have ups, we have downs, we have many different routes. I've always loved the Choose Your Own Adventure books when I was a kid. I don't know if you were a millennial and you read the Choose Your Own Adventure books, but I was obsessed with them because every single choice I made took me to a different ending. And I think it's my obsession with Choose Your Own Adventure books that made me love and made me appreciate and know that in life you get to choose so many different routes and different adventures, and you don't have to do one way forever, you know? But anyway, just a little thought for today. I want to start going live a lot more. I talk on my stories like this often, and so I just want to start doing it live, putting it out there for whoever needs to hear it today. I know it's going to reach so many more people if it's on my feed and not on my stories. And so if you hear anything that resonated with you, I hope you do come to my alignment series. And it's a 3-part series. It's listed in my bio. And if you're watching the replay, you can comment align below. And I hope to see you there. All right.
What I gather from that, again, so many, like, going off in so many directions, just no coherence, no order, no kind of like narrative at all, just like all over the place. What I'm hearing is she's having an identity crisis. And, Beachbody went affiliate. She came out hard swinging, like, I will never join another MLM. I want to, like, completely own what I do. Okay. And now you don't know, like, who you are, because MLMs have you put your whole identity in the MLM. You don't know, like, what you're good at because you were at the top of an MLM. That's mostly to do with luck. And she just doesn't know what to do. She doesn't know. She feels entitled to the lifestyle that Beachbody gave her, to the sense of superiority over other people, to being perceived as a leader, as an influencer, as an entrepreneur, as someone who is successful that people look up to. She wants to have all that, but she doesn't know how to do it. And she's just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. And everything that she's teaching, that, in my opinion, is what she's trying to figure out. She's having an identity crisis. She's trying to figure out who she is and how to create her dream life. But she will not allow herself to be a student or to be, someone who doesn't know everything, who isn't an expert on everything. She has to be the expert. She has to be the leader. She has to be the HBIC, you know, like it's just wild. And it is, being in an MLM is it does subsume a lot of your identity. It can be very hard to figure out who you are when you're leaving. And I was only, mildly successful. I can't imagine being someone at the top and having put so much of your identity into that and having to deal with that. So I do have sympathy for her, but it's also hard because her ego is so huge and she thinks that she is famous enough or successful enough to be like, I'm going to give you guys like tidbits and journaling prompts and like I'm qualified to teach these workshops. And it's like, you're not qualified for honestly many jobs. Like she doesn't really have any qualifications. She hasn't been in the workforce. I think that I have waited tables. I think that's a very difficult job, and I think it requires a lot of skills. I hate the phrase unskilled labor. I think she's qualified to wait tables if she would do it again. She obviously has experience in that. Her photography is really good. Like, why doesn't she try to like book some weddings? Why doesn't she try to like advertise herself as a photographer? I think she's done like some graphic design and stuff too. Like, there are things she could do, she could get into, but she refuses to not be an entrepreneur. She's clinging so tightly to who she thinks she is, which is ironic because she's teaching these workshops about authenticity and being aligned with your true self. And she does not have an accurate view of herself. Who she thinks she is not who she is. And do you really want to take authenticity workshops from someone who doesn't know who they are? I don't think so. So that's going to be it for me. I think we'll leave Amy alone for a while unless she pivots again, and then we will cover her again. But if you enjoyed this video, please hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. I would love to have you. As always, if you have a pet, please tell me about them in the comments if you haven't already, and kiss them on their little heads for me. And I will see you in the next one. Take care.
What does perfect even